Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, February 8th. A very active weather pattern setting up for the Mid-Atlantic region for the next week to 10 days or so. It will include accumulating snow from later tonight into early Wednesday for D.C., Philadelphia, New York City metro region. Then some very cold air pours in behind that for Thursday and Friday. And then even colder, a brutal air mass coming into the I-95 corridor for the upcoming weekend. In fact, 0 degrees is on the table this weekend in parts of the I-95 corridor. Sunday, Valentine's Day, looks like it could be one of the coldest Valentine's Day in a long, long time. Then there is another snow threat coming next week, and we'll, of course, focus in on that as we get through the rest of this week, but a very active 48 hours coming on that we'll focus in on over the next few minutes. First of all, this is the water vapor imagery loop from the Penn State EWOL site, and it shows a powerful storm right now exiting off the Mid-Atlantic coastline to the north and east. Its biggest impact will be across the southeastern part of New England, from, let's say, Long Island all the way into the Boston metro region. Certainly significant snowfall in places like Providence and Boston. Just on the northwest fringes in the New York City metro region, perhaps an inch or so today in the immediate New York City metro region, a little bit more in Long Island. Philly and D.C. will escape the precipitation field from this initial storm, but notice here on its heels, the darker pathway here from central Canada into the northern plains and then wrapping around into the Midwest represents drier air, and that's associated with a cold push of air and an upper level low, a deep upper level cold low here forming now over the Great Lakes region. This will set off a chain of events that will bring accumulating snow to D.C., Philly, and New York City from later tonight into early Wednesday. And here's a look at the surface pattern. That strong low pressure area off the East Coast, again affecting places like Long Island and southeastern New England. Notice a couple different cold frontal systems out here over the Ohio Valley. And again, an Arctic air intrusion is moving into the northern plains, and deep upper level cold low is forming over the Great Lakes. All that plays a role in our accumulating snow over the next 48 hours or so. Well, let's take a look at some computer model forecast maps. This is all using last night's 0Z GFS model run. This first map here is at the 500 millibar levels, the upper part of the atmosphere for this evening. Deep upper level trough here moving across the Ohio Valley by tonight. Cold Arctic air pouring in on the western side of this deep upper level low. Again, there will be a surface low pressure area over the Ohio Valley that during the day on Tuesday will transverse energy, and surface low pressure will develop tomorrow along the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Let's now jump ahead 24 hours to the forecast map for Tuesday evening. And here we go. By tomorrow evening, still deep trough over the Mid-Atlantic, over the northeastern part of the country. All this is suggesting an extended period of snow, or at least a threat of snow. And indeed, from later tonight into the day on Wednesday, there certainly can be occasional snow in that entire period, as a very slow-moving, deep upper-level trough sets off the development of a surface low-pressure area on Tuesday that will only slowly move from the Mid-Atlantic coastline to the north and east. Well, now let's take a look at some surface maps, again using last night's 0Z GFS model run. This is the forecast map for this evening. That first powerful storm continues to pull away to the north and east, having an impact on the southeastern part of New England. But here, the next system of interest is a low pressure area over the Ohio Valley. By this time, some light greens here, or some light precipitation moving into the D.C. metro region. Again, that's later this afternoon into the early part of tonight. Later tonight into Philly. Now, it certainly can begin as some rain, especially in the D.C. metro region, but then it should change to occasional snow late tonight. For the most part, occasional snow in Philly. Again, even there at the onset, a little bit of rain is possible, but occasional snow in D.C. and Philly from later tonight right into the day on Wednesday, and that goes for New York City as well. Again, today, the immediate New York City region can receive an inch or so of snow. More than likely, it's higher amounts to the east there across Long Island, and then they'll get into some snow as well on Tuesday, same with Philly and D.C. Now here's the forecast map for tomorrow morning. A couple things I want to point out here. First of all, coastal low area right here off the Mid-Atlantic coastline by tomorrow morning. Now notice here kind of an extension of the isobar, the low pressure pattern to the west. This is often called an inverted trough. Typically, troughs of low pressure extend to the south of surface low pressure areas, but once in a while they'll extend westward or even northward, what is called an inverted trough. And it's a very critical part of this forecast because you notice what's happening here. The GFS has been very consistent in dumping a little bit extra precipitation in that inverted trough region. Notice here the darker greens and even the blues across southern Pennsylvania, northern Maryland, perhaps a very northern part of Virginia, and parts of the Delmarva Peninsula. I expect some heavier snow bands to form during the day on Tuesday, and in any of those locations that could enhance the snowfall. Right now I'm thinking 2 to 5 inches in the DC metro region, with the higher amounts to the north of the district in places like northern Montgomery County, northern Prince George's County. A general 3 to 6 inch snowfall in the Philly metro region, with those higher amounts to the south and west of the Philly metro area. Places like Chester County and Delaware County. Again, all as a result of the mesoscale or small scale heavier bands that it looks like will set up across southern Pennsylvania, northern Maryland, northern Virginia. We really won't have a great handle on that until tomorrow to see where in fact it sets up. But right now that's the favorite region, enhancing the snowfall a little bit in Philly, 3 to 6 inches, 2 to 5 in the general DC area with those higher amounts to the north. In Philly, the higher amounts to the south and west. And again, where this band sets up, certainly can't even have isolated higher amounts than 5 or 6 inches on Tuesday. So we'll have to monitor this closely. A little bit less up across New York City compared to DC and Philly in general for Tuesday and Tuesday night. They get a little bit today. Philly and DC do not, but a little bit less tomorrow and tomorrow night in New York City, because that inverted trough looks like it'll set up to their south and more or less over Philly, the region between Philly and DC. Well, let's now jump ahead to tomorrow evening. Notice here that GFS is continuing to put out a little bit of heavier precipitation in the form of snow across southern Pennsylvania, perhaps northern Maryland, northern Virginia, south of the New York City region. Again, this is why there may be a little bit of enhancement in the snowfall tomorrow in that region between DC and Philly, specifically the northern side of DC to the southern and western side of Philly, and perhaps 3 to 6 inches with even isolated higher amounts possible. Finally, let's wrap up with the forecast map for Wednesday morning. Still some snow shower activity possible, especially north of the Mason-Dixon line on Wednesday morning. In Philly, New York City, can be some snow showers. Then that cold air pouring in on the backside of these surface low pressure areas Wednesday, and it'll be very cold in the I-95 corridor on Thursday and Friday, but then even colder for the upcoming weekend with just a frigid air mass, 0 degrees on the table in parts of the I-95 corridor this weekend. Just brutal cold air for the weekend, the coldest air mass of the season so far, and then perhaps another snow threat next week. So stay tuned to VencoreWeather.com for updates later today and all week long, as it's in a very exciting and active 7 or 10 days. This is a meteorologist, Paul Dorian. Stay tuned to VencoreWeather.com for updates later today. That's it for now. Thanks.